Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jean-Pierre Broulard.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Barcelona. A huge welcome to VMworld Europe 2017. I'm really honored to stand here at my 9th VMworld Europe and my 3rd on stage at EMEA Leader. It's my absolute pleasure and privilege to kick off a fantastic 2 days. First of all, let me thank you. Thank you to all of you for coming to Barcelona. You have traveled far and wide, far across Europe and beyond. As we all know, Barcelona is a vibrant and open city that is very close to our heart as the home of VMworld Europe since so many years now. And your presence today is a testament to the fact that really despite the tragic events less than 3 weeks ago here in Barcelona, it's vital to continue to live our life. How we will do that? First of all, to believe in humanity. Second, to remain optimistic for the future. And then to recognize our collective passion for technology that creates a better world for all of us. Tots som Barcelona. We are all Barcelona. And to me, VMware is a community. Together, we believe in improving the world and the future with technology. Nous sommes VMware. Wir sind VMware. Somos VMware. Noi siamo VMware. Nachnu VMware. Wir VMware. Nachnu VMware. Muy VMware. And with more than 11,000 people here, a record ever for VMworld Europe, representing over 95 countries, you are collectively demonstrating your commitment to building a tomorrow with both diversity and inclusion. All together, we are VMware. We all believe in the power of difference. Diversity and inclusion will again be at the very heart of VMworld Europe. This year, there are 2 main activities taking place in the spirit of VM inclusion. The first is about art. A very well-known digital artist will be at VM Village, capturing the energy of VMworld Europe, creating a fantastic multicultural art of peace, reflecting your diversity. And the second is about you. By posting your own photo on social media, you will be entered in the Faces of VMworld competition. And the winner will have the great chance to meet the famous Kaiser Chief Band at the VMworld party on Wednesday. Are you excited as I am? Please enjoy and get involved. All of us are transforming the world with technology. You are here as both pioneers and game changer. And over the next 2, and VMworld is not only a VMware event, it's the industry event. And over the next 2 days, you will challenge the ordinary. You will learn from our executive and IT visionary. You will have the chance as well to attend the 300+ sessions we have prepared for you. You will have the chance to discover all the solutions ready for you, prepared by all our partners in the Solution Exchange. And even more importantly for some of you, you will practice in our ever-popular labs. I'm sure you will agree with me, it's going to be an incredible 2 days. Lastly, over the past decade of VMworld, altogether, we have made something unique. We have made the possible impossible. Again this year, we come together to shape the future. And we're better to speak about shaping the future than one of our greatest visionaries, and our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Pat Gelsinger. Please join me to welcome on stage Pat Gelsinger.
Excellent, excellent. It is great to be at VMworld 2017, and this is the largest VMworld Europe ever. So we are so grateful for all of you being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was at the VMworld stage 5 years ago that I was given the honor, the privilege of becoming the CEO of VMware and really becoming part of this community. And for that, here we are being the third CEO of VMware. I just say thank you for the great privilege that I have personally to be part of this community and the leadership of this group. It has been a fabulous 5 years, and we have so many more good things coming. Now, we've reached an interesting moment in the history of technology. Technologies that we might have known of only from science fiction are now becoming science fact. And we see them in our everyday use. And you remember this picture from the movie Aliens when Ellen Ripley, she got out and put on her exoskeleton to go battle the alien to save her child? Well, this is a picture in Korea of exoskeletons being put on Korean steel and ship workers every day to have superhuman strength. Science fiction or science fact? And all of us remember that famous line from Star Trek when Kirk is in trouble and he says, "Beam me up, Scotty." Remember that phrase? Well, Einstein described it as spooky action at a distance, this quantum entanglement effect. And a couple of months ago, Chinese scientists were able to demonstrate from Earth to a satellite 300 miles away photon entanglement. Wow, not quite beam me up yet, but just amazing things that are being demonstrated. And Hollywood has always had this fascination with genetically modified insects, from ants to bees to flies to spiders and mosquitoes. Well, science fact, with CRISPR technology, we're able to permanently edit DNA structures to genetically modify mosquito DNA, and they're using this now to potentially eradicate the Zika virus. Personally, I'm looking for us modifying mosquitoes so that they stop biting me, but it is quite amazing what we're demonstrating. And maybe as we look at these great innovations, these breakthroughs, the most radical change of all is maybe our perspective, our expectations, our frame of reference. My one-year-old granddaughter, Abigail, she grabs my phone and she starts poking, swiping, and pinching at 1 year old. Can you believe it? Right? It's hard to get a perspective on how much our perspective has changed. And maybe mind-blowing to mundane is evidenced no more clearly than in autonomous vehicles. Now, how many of you have ridden an autonomous car, right? A few of you have. Now, when you first get into it, you're sort of like, "Oh, somebody touched the wheel." And then you go into fierce questioning, right? Maybe 2 or 3 minutes. How does it work? How do these sensors work? Connectivity, and what happens if we lose network connection and if a car swerves in front of me? And I'm sort of a geek, so I had about 5 minutes of fierce questioning. And then after that, it's like, are we there yet? This thing drives slower than my grandmother on Sunday, right? We went from exhilarating to expecting, from mind-blowing to mundane in 4 minutes flat. What's changed? Simply we're seeing this dynamic break out everywhere. As I say it, tech is breaking out of tech, and every industry is having that mind-blowing to mundane experience. In media and entertainment, in banking and retail, healthcare, we're seeing the front office experience where customer experiences are being set on the new front lines in new powerful ways, but also transformation of the back office experience and the operations. Let's just click just a little bit deeper into a couple of these industries to see as tech is leaving the nest. It was in the 90s where 2 little companies that start with A were formed. And they began changing the retail experience and the e-commerce experience in a fundamental and profound way. And as much as this has changed, and we may go online shopping to do comparative shopping and those types of things, only 1/10 of the retail industry has been transformed. Wow, we have a long way to go despite the radical changes that have been performed over the last decade. And we're working with many of these customers and their big VMware partners, and across many different industries and geographies, and a company like Amadeus, a huge partner of ours, transforming the transportation and airline experience. Or maybe going to another industry like telco, an industry that's ripe for transformation in front of us. And the competitive environment for telcos, where they're being challenged to their customer expectations for rich services and content, personalized experiences. And as they look to the 5G generation, 100x increase in the amount of bandwidth that's being expected for VR and AR, 100x increase in edge and IoT devices, and with 5G and NFV, a fundamentally new and different architecture. Maybe the greatest capital investment will occur in the rest of our lives with the 5G build-out. And fundamentally, this architecture for the telco network was a vertically oriented architecture, silos of technology. And this sort of looks like what our data centers used to look like a decade or so ago. Every app had its own specialized equipment. Fundamentally, NFV transforms that to take advantage of what you all and us have been doing for the last couple of decades, right? Building a scalable horizontal environment in the telco world that's called NFV, or network function virtualization, on top of general purpose hardware, for which many applications can run across different network technologies and deliver an over-the-top experience, new services. And against that, VMware is very excited to be delivering our next generation platform, and today we're announcing VMware Integrated Stack 4.0, easy to deploy, set up, and use, high availability, scale out to architecture, compliant with the latest generation of OpenStack Foundation, and building the combination of cool new carrier requirements like multi-tenancy, pass-through performance, NUMA optimization and scheduling, and combining that with rock-hard, enterprise-grade capabilities of the VMware stack. VMware Integrated OpenStack 4.0, driving and helping to create this next-generation telco architecture. And we're working with customers across the telco industry, and maybe one of those, Vodafone, a pioneer, one of the key leading brands in creating new architectures for the telco community, and our thanks to the group CTO, Johan Weiberg, for his partnership with us as we're working with them to become a partner in building out the next generation NFV architecture. And we're quite excited, our largest telco deal that we've ever completed with Vodafone. Now, if we step back and we think about these radical changes, over 200 years ago, 85+% of the workforce in the United States, and this is just an indicator for what it was like around the world, but in the United States, the data is over 80% was in agriculture. This is my heritage. I'm from a farming community in Pennsylvania, so 85% of my heritage has been displaced in the workforce, now less than 2%. Is that a terrible thing or a good thing? Right? And I would argue, right, we've created extraordinary improvements in quality of life and people. In fact, I was with a family reunion of my dad and his siblings. He's one of 10, so his brothers and brothers-in-law, and all 10 of them are around a table at a family reunion. Right? And I'm sort of, romancing the wonderful farming life. And I look around my uncles. Not one of my uncles has all 10 of their fingers. So I think this picture was a pretty good thing. And every day I feel a little bit of arrogance climb up. I got all my digits, baby, we're good. Similarly, we've seen such radical transformation in other industries like manufacturing, where it used to peak at about 30% of the workforce, and now it's not about bringing manufacturing jobs back, it's about creating new manufacturing jobs that are higher value, more automated, and creating higher quality of life. And we're seeing that the rest of the economy, services, retail, healthcare, high-skilled, high-value, high-paying jobs. In the past, we used to joke about our educational system, 3 R's, read, write, and arithmetic. In the future, it's read, write code, and arithmetic, creating high-value new experiences into the future. And fundamentally, as we think about this creative destruction at work, at the heart of it is applications, it's software. It's creating these new customer experiences and competitive differentiation in software. And the essence of the VMware strategy is helping our customers deliver apps that transform their businesses. That's what we're out to do. Now, when we think about the VMware vision, and you've seen this picture if you've been with us for a while, we've evolved it and refined it, but essentially this is the strategy that we've been painting for the last 5 years or so. Any device, literally consume any device with any application, being the delivery vehicle for the applications that you want from any cloud and built with intrinsic security. Real simple. Any device, any application, any cloud, intrinsic security. Now, given some of the comments, we're expanding that to say we're also transforming the telco network. And with partnerships like the Vodafone and NFV, we're seeing that the cloud world and the telco world are coming closer together than ever before. And our technologies are becoming intrinsic in the underlying networks of the service provider themselves. And maybe even more powerful and more exciting is what we're seeing is that environment is not just on human connected devices, but with edge and IoT stretching to every device as well. And we're seeing that this is just a key aspect of tech breaking out of tech. And I've been in the industry now. I'm entering my 37th year in the technology industry. I know I'm only 37. That was a joke. Come on, you get it? So, right. But 37 years, and you see these patterns emerge over time in the technology industry. And one of those, I'll say, is this move from centralized to decentralized. And we've seen this movement back and forth in mini computer and client server. And cloud has been a force to centralization over the last decade. And I believe that will continue for a number of years, but edge and IoT is a force of decentralization, where we're seeing intelligence, data, and services move toward the edge. And literally, we're seeing it become more oriented toward from human connected to machine connected or cloud to edge, where the physical world meets the digital world. And this results in an explosion of new services and applications. And from that, it's why we introduced the VMware Pulse IoT at Dell EMC World earlier this year to extend what we do to the edge of these new machine-connected devices and experiences. And we're excited to be working with key brands in the industry, and maybe there's no better example of this than Toyota, delivering millions of cars a year, billions of things that need to be managed, and devices that need to be connected, and data that developed. Key marquee positions with the next generation platform. So this is our vision. Any device, any application. And let's dig into that piece of the picture just a little bit more carefully. Apps are about unleashing the potential of your most valuable resource, your people. And goal is simple: provide anywhere access to the apps that enable the people that are part of your work and your customer base. But when we look at this picture, it's complicated. It's hard. Lots of devices and confusing mess of devices and applications and services and security. And this results in not just confusion and difficulty for your users, but also in how you run and operate your environment. Many silos inside of the IT departments. What a mess. And fundamentally, Workspace One for us is putting all of those pieces together to solve many of those problems and deliver that consumer simple iTunes-like experience, but yet enterprise secure. Workspace One has 3 core value propositions. First, the idea of apps and identity in a consistent way. And literally, this is how we run VMware, right? We've built our applications, user experiences on this consistent environment. Second, from an operational perspective, consistent management and security across that range of experiences, delivered both on-premise as well as in the cloud, working for what we do as well as our Horizon service working on Azure Cloud as well. And across a broad ecosystem of devices, both desktop and mobile devices as well. And without a question, VMware delivers the broadest ecosystem in the industry by far. With AirWatch, we sort of built our foundation on the Apple iOS product. We quickly expanded that to include the broad ecosystem of Android devices. From there, went deep with Samsung, added Windows 10, and as Microsoft has declared the end of SCCM for device management, a modern, unified endpoint management architecture and an explosive interest from customers in managing Windows 10 devices in a new and modern way. And expanded that and integrating those capabilities directly into Dell devices, as we announced earlier this year. A couple of weeks ago, expanding to support Chromebooks and an exclusive partnership with Google in that area. And today, happy to announce integrating that with the HP clients as well, and with Dion Weisler, the CEO of HPI, integrating, and they're building their device as a service offering specifically with AirWatch devices. So huge breakthroughs and advancements in what we're doing for device and end user management. So a complete picture of Workspace One. But let's hear directly from a customer and how they're taking advantage of that Workspace One environment. Let's hear now from AstraZeneca.
AstraZeneca is a pharmaceutical company operating globally. Our three mantras really are to achieve scientific leadership, to be a great place to work, and to return to growth. One of the challenges in any business now is you need to innovate quicker. So our challenge now is how do we do that, and how do we do it smart as well. Gone are the days where IT is simply a technology provider that is not really enabling the business to innovate. We partnered with VMware to create a digital workspace. It's about how we can transform together, and VMware really helped us to do that by enabling us with different technologies end to end to ensure that our user experience is digitally transformed. With VMware Workspace One, we can just layer on our security on top. We can have a consistent way of working, a consistent dashboard, and we're looking to leverage Workspace One and how we can transform the way that we work. It's been a real culture shift in the way that AstraZeneca work. They're loving the fact that they can do things on the go now because they're seeing what's possible and they're loving what's possible.
Yeah, what a great story, and we're grateful to the partnership that we have with them. So we've looked at any device and any application. Let's dig a little bit more into cloud, and let's talk about cloud starting with private cloud. And how many of you remember your first mind-blowing experience with ESX or GSX or WSX? Right? And just, you can't do that in software. And I remember when I was running I'm running the enterprise group for Intel, and that's the server business for Intel. And Mendel and Diane, right, the founders of VMware, came to see me, right? And they came to see me sort of as we want Intel's partnership working, right, on this cool new technology called virtualization. And they said, hey, we can take 10 server chips and make it into one. And I looked at them and said, do you know what business I run? Right? I'm the server, more server chips is a good thing, not fewer are a good thing. And they were undeterred at the time, right? Wouldn't hesitate and just kept right on plowing ahead with their sales pitch to me of why Intel should support them, VMware at the time. Now, I wasn't alone in my reaction, mind-blowing, how can this possibly work? And some of our early VMware salespeople says, can't be, right? Just can't do that as well. In fact, we found some footage from an early VMware sales call, and we just wanted to play that for you now for that first mind-blowing experience with the customer. So let's go ahead and look at that. see that high-priced talent that we got, Steve Hare, the first and long-time CTO and still a great friend of VMware. You never knew Steve could act, did you? Right, and from that first experience of virtualizing the server, right, we've undertaken to virtualize the whole data center. But it's not yet cloud-like easy and consumable. And today we're laser focused on making it easy to deploy, easy to manage, and we're consistently introducing new services and new capabilities. And we just launched our Skyline, proactive and predictive support capabilities, easy to secure. And when you think about it, in the past of you remember these pictures that you used to have in your lab rats days? I was cleaning out my garage a couple of weeks ago, and I found my blue soldering iron that looks right like that one. I got out my ohm meter, I replaced the batteries, and I got it working again. I was so excited. My son and I, we had built his PC, about 15 years ago. It was a dual graphics, overclocked, water cooled. Literally, we just retired it a year or two ago. I mean, you remember those days? But we don't do that anymore, right? We expect to buy it, and it just works, right? We expect this fully integrated system. And it used to be cool to assemble and tinker. Now we've moved past that. And that's exactly what we're doing with VMware Cloud Foundation. We moved past it. We expect it to work as a solution. The compute, storage, network, it's completely integrated with VMware Cloud Foundation. And we're now releasing VCF, VMware Cloud Foundation 2.2 with all the latest VMware technologies, vSphere, vSAN, NSX, Horizon, improved bring up and user interface, and enabling the data center to operate as an essential component of your cloud strategy, on-premise as well as in the cloud. As another example of putting it together and making all of these pieces work, a key element of that is hyper-converged infrastructure. And VMware vSAN has just been a rocket ship, 10,000 customers. We're adding over 100 customers a day. And we've built an impressive ecosystem. We now have 12 servers and 2 OEM partners and 250 SKUs. And vSAN is a killer application for the latest Intel hardware. And being an Intel guy for many years, anything that showed off my silicon, I loved that software. And vSAN and the latest Optane drives, Dell 14G servers, wow, the performance improvements, this thing is killer. And working with Intel on our hit refresh campaign to accelerate the adoption of new hardware and software. But of course, the best way is as a complete solution, as a complete appliance. And that's what VxRail and VxRack are all about. And we just launched the latest versions of VxRail and VxRack SDDC with EMC, with all of the latest, the PowerEdge, flash components, the best way to take advantage and accelerate your journey to the private cloud. And of course, at the heart of all of that, vSphere 6.5. 6.5 has been the most rapidly adopted version of VMware's vSphere technology in our history. Twice the adoption rate of 6.5. Simple to use, built-in security, and simply put, a platform for every application that you would have in the data center. The only goal, 100% virtualized in everything that you do. So we've looked at the private cloud. Let's talk now about the public cloud. And in the public cloud, we announced an industry-shaping partnership with IBM just over a year ago. And with that, we were on a path to accelerate the delivery of the hybrid cloud and our customers' ability to adopt and utilize that hybrid cloud. And to discuss the progress that we've made and some cool new announcements, please join me in welcoming David Kinney, SVP, IBM Watson and Cloud Platform, to the stage right now. David, please join. How are you? David, welcome to Barcelona.
I'm delighted to be here.
It is great to have you here as well. Maybe a rain shower or two, but we're okay, aren't we?
We're fine in here.
Indeed, indeed. So, David, it's been a little bit over a year since we announced the partnership. Talk a little bit about how's it going.
Listen, I feel great about the partnership. You talked a minute ago about retail and how only 10% is digital commerce. Same thing's true with the cloud. We're at the very early stages. A very small percentage is on cloud, but together we're bringing clients there every day. So just in 1 year, we've got over 1,400 clients, many of whom are here, who have come together to work with VMware and IBM Cloud. So I'm thrilled about that. Clients like Vodafone you mentioned,
Okay,
Honeywell,
yeah, big ones, yeah.
Cineverse, Telstra. So they're all coming in big scale because of this. As you know, our partnership's deep. We see each other often to make sure it works technically, and that we're meeting the needs of those enterprise customers and spanning the things they needed to do to come to cloud. Cloud itself, security, compliance, networking, DAS, and more.
Well, security was fun. We just announced our new technology, and we had Mark at VMworld.
We did, and it was good to be at VMworld US, where we could really talk about that integration of app defense with our QRadar, our security, and it's been hot. Ever since we announced it in Las Vegas, we've had a lot of calls, so we're excited about it.
Very good. And you know, we've gotten a very loud and clear signal from all of you that it isn't just about building the infrastructure, but how can we give increased application mobility across multiple clouds? And today, we're delighted to announce the VMware HCX technology. And what HCX does is it really attacks that seamless interoperability. And as you think about this, you know, many of you have existing environments of older versions of vSphere, and how do you migrate those to modern internal or cloud environments, and how do you deal with the complexity? And what HCX does is it moves significantly beyond just vMotion, and you know, it gives a loosely coupled architecture that leverages a network overlay technology and allows us to connect on-premise old environments to modern environments on-premise, or old environments to cloud environments. And HCX technology uses a fully integrated system that allows quick, secure movements of VMware workloads, complex applications, leveraging industry standard technologies like vMotion and data replication, but accelerating this migration. And really for IT, it's infrastructure modernization and cloud migration. A powerful new technology that we're announcing today. So what does IBM think?
And that's part of why I was so excited to be here, because we are one of the very first partners to embrace HCX. We appreciate working with you on it, and we are pumped to bring it to the market. It's going to solve so many really important needs for all of our clients. By combining the IBM Cloud with the VMware Cloud Foundation and HCX, we can make sure that all of our client data centers are integrated into globally available cloud services. This is a real unmet need. It's going to allow enterprises to scale up in a huge way. I'd also say we've got a consulting arm at IBM. I was with them yesterday. This is the product they are focused on for the rest of the year. We think this brings a lot of more enterprises into our cloud.
So VMware, IBM Cloud, IBM Global Services, but I think we have one more announcement today as well, David. Right? We have this other partner in the family called Dell. And today we're happy to announce an expanded partnership with Dell as well, right, David?
Yeah, listen, and this is very cool. We've been working behind the scenes with Dell, but today we're going to announce that IBM and Dell EMC have a big agreement across the whole family to accelerate cloud adoption. We're certainly going to be able to provide all of Dell EMC's commercial customers with access to the VMware solutions on the IBM Cloud. We're also working on the hardware. Dell's a really important foundational platform for what we're building on IBM Cloud. Coming back to this, we're going to make sure that we bring the vCenter server on the IBM Cloud to all customers. This is key. It's going to help them rapidly expand their ability to bring their on-premise data center capacity into the IBM public cloud. But at the same time, it's going to be able to leverage all those investments they've made in VMware, in their tooling and the scripts, and I just think it's going to be an awesome acceleration onto the IBM Cloud.
So IBM, Dell, VMware coming together, this is fabulous, but maybe it's better to hear from a customer, right? We can talk about it always. Right? And it's really exciting, right, that we can have some customers here as well.
Yeah, and as we talked about which customer would best embody it, I could think of no better answer than Amdocs. Amdocs is a leading software and services provider to most of the world's telcos. You talked about that before. And so I think as we look at the communication media services company, no better way to talk about that transformation than Alon Yamfel from Amdocs. Come on, Alon. Thanks for coming.
No Alon, thank you for joining us as well. Very good. We ran into each other yesterday in the immigration line, so as we're coming
1 hour.
through. Yeah, it was a very slow, long line, so you got to work with that in Barcelona. But, Alon, very good. Tell us a little bit about Amdocs.
First, thanks, David and Pat, to have me here. I'm really excited to be here in Barcelona at VMworld. First, let me say a few things about our customers. Our customers, as you said, they are the media and communication companies. They are transforming themselves into today's digital world. You said Amdocs is leading software and service provider in this industry. We are helping our top 350 global customers to reinvent themselves and transform into the new world. We do it with our products, such as the BSS product, the billing support system, the OSS product, the ordering system, our IoT solutions, our network orchestration and NFVs, and we help with our innovative solution, our delivery and DevOps expertise, and our intelligent operation as part of our managed services.
Well, that sounds great, Alon, but what are some of the key challenges that those customers are facing now?
Well, they have many challenges. In this industry, obviously, they have many challenges. I said they are trying to reinvent themselves, stay relevant, and maintain their revenue streams, maybe increase them. But maybe one of the key challenges that we are helping them to address is to make their cloud journey, move beyond the lift and shift of cloud infrastructure into real cloud innovation and transformation. In this industry, the time to market is crucial. It's very important. Once they have new project, new product, new plan, new phone, they need to be in production very fast. Now, once Amdocs system is in production, it is always a mission-critical system. It has to be always on. It has to be highly available. It has very high performance needs. We need to make sure that we can get them what they want. So we are trying to make sure that when they need to have a system in production, they get everything that they need. The system that is required to be always on and highly available always have very high demand, and we need to be able to adapt to the spikes in demand. Let me give you one example of a spike in demand. Later on today in the Silicon Valley, they will announce new phones that are coming to the market.
A little announcement today.
A little announcement later today, and I guess that you know what I'm talking about. But for us, Amdocs systems, when we have such phones coming to the stores, this will be, we will see customers going to the stores. They are buying, upgrading, changing their phones, maybe even changing service providers so they can get better plans or maybe free phones. And for us, these are digital experience events that we need to manage, coming to us in multiple channels, such as the stores, self-service, online, maybe even through social media. And we need to be able to adjust to this spike in demand. We can do it only with a scalable cloud infrastructure that is able to support this.
So as you take on all that challenge and that complexity, how is it the fact that VMware and IBM Cloud are closer together?
Sure.
How does that help you?
Yeah, sure. So the VMware solution and the IBM Cloud help us to enable our customer to seamlessly connect their on-prem or Amdocs data center VMware workloads to the IBM Cloud.
Great.
And this is without the need to re-architect or redesign our application. We could actually take our application and almost as is, move it to the cloud. We didn't have to change the application. We didn't even have to change major processes. We could take the same processes we have today in production and use them almost as in production. Even the tool set, right? We have monitoring tools, we have deployment tools, we have many tools that help us to manage environments. We didn't have to change them. We could use exactly the same tool set.
What do you think about the HCX technology that we announced today, Alon?
Okay, so I see a tremendous value in the HCX technology you just talked about going forward. We see the ability to support our CSP customers, clients from cloud adoption to cloud innovation and transformation. We will be able to much easier move workloads, our moving workloads, we will be able to better manage them. We will be able to better manage our application. We will also be able to have a better access to many of the native cloud services such as Watson or data analytics. So we are really excited about it.
Well, Alon, you know, it's just a pleasure to have you here, right? The partnership with Amdocs, now the three-way relationship that we have. You know, VMworld Barcelona, let's say thank you to Amdocs and Alon.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Now, I'm not going to let you go quite so quickly here, David, because there's one more thing. You know, I'd love to have you talk a little bit. You know, you guys are big and cognitive and how that's a big piece. How do you see that fitting into this overall cloud plus cognitive strategy that we're working on?
Well, listen, I think AI is the next big wave. These technologies, between what we're doing in AI and what we're doing on cloud work together, it's core for us to deliver the ultimate customer experience. As we've been using Watson to help understand what customers need, talk to them in a personal way, read their data, that had to take a hybrid cloud. And I think that's what's unique about our approach to AI. There's so much data that's existing in on-prem. Being able to connect that to the public cloud, which is where Watson lives, has been key. We've been able to bring AI to business. We got a lot of people bringing AI to consumer, but IBM Watson's leading AI to business only because we work with VMware to connect those dots. Let me give you just one example. With Watson and with the VMware Cloud Foundation, we've been able to bring unique intelligence about the entire environment that every client's managing, which makes their whole environment more intelligent, allows it to work with AI, allows it to work real time. That's allowing us to be able to predict the future and issue announcements even before they happen. We were tested this week. We run the weather company, had a couple of big events going on in Texas and Florida.
Hurricanes, yeah.
Night and day. If we compare this to the hurricanes of 5-6 years ago, night and day in terms of being able to be prepared. We all played a role in that, and I'm really proud of it. So just one example, everybody's going to be able to predict the future better using Watson Cloud and VMware.
Well, David, I'm very excited about what we've done over the last year, what we announced today with HCX, Dell, customers like Amdocs, but in this area, what we're doing for the future as well. David Kenny,
Let's keep doing
thank you so much.
Take care.
Very good.
Thank you.
You know, a year ago at VMworld, we outlined our cloud strategy and vision, and we said, make private cloud easy. We just discussed it. We talked about these major partnerships with the major cloud vendors, deep and innovating together, just like you heard now from IBM, and how we're expanding the broad reach in the industry as well. And we're delivering on that vision. And the fourth piece of that strategy, as we said, is to enable a portfolio of cloud services across any cloud. You know, and this strategy has been driven by what we've heard from you. And as I talk to CIOs around the world, they have a range of challenges that they're trying to deal with. You know, how do I move faster? How do I move my applications? How do I have a multi-cloud environment? And that fundamentally has driven what we are doing in this space. And the first thing that the VMware Cloud is out to do is consistent infrastructure across this range of different cloud alternatives. And in the multi-cloud world, we realize that we need to enable this compatibility across those. And today we have over 4,400 VMware cloud provider partners. Partners like Virtustream, who are leaders in mission-critical workloads like SAP. Partnerships like OVH, deep relationships that we're co-innovating in hybrid cloud. And OVH, a longtime partner, 5 of the last 6 years, they've been our cloud provider partner of the year. And we're experiencing tremendous growth in Europe, now through the vCloud Air assets transition to OVH, acceleration in US. They're building out their footprint throughout Asia. A committed partner with us on building the full SDDC offering for the marketplace. Today, we're announcing an expansion of our VMware Cloud Provider Program, VMware Cloud Verified. What this is that providers will carry this trust mark that they have made deep investments in the VMware technology set, supporting the full VMware stack and presenting that to customers. Today, we have our first 5 VMware Cloud Verified partners, CenturyLink, Fujitsu, IBM, OVH, and Rackspace. And every one of these has made a deep commitment into the VMware Cloud Stack and is delivering that full SDDC stack to you, our mutual customers. And we look forward to many future announcements as well of additional VMware Cloud partners. But we also know that our customers will take advantage of additional native cloud services from different cloud providers like Azure and Google Cloud. And while we love them all running on our stack, we fully realize there's a broad range of innovation that's occurring across. And our strategy is to uniquely embrace and enable all of those clouds for our customers. And with that, today we're offering a new set of SaaS-based cloud services to enable consistent operations even on other native cloud services as well. And these are the first of these 7 cloud services, and we're going to have many more over time that increase visibility across clouds, cost understanding, a common networking layer with NSX across multiple clouds, discovery services, management, provisioning services, increased security for data and applications. And we're excited about this portfolio that will be expanding rapidly for VMware Cloud Services. Now, we wanted to mix things up a little bit this morning, so we want to give you one last glimpse of cloud future. And to do that, we're going to give you a demonstration of maybe what cloud management might look like in the future for you. And to help me do that, it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage Alan Renouf, Senior Product Line Manager at VMware. Alan, if you could join us.
Hey, Pat.
Alan, so you promised to have something cool to show today, so what are we going to do?
That's right, Pat. I know how much you love new technology, right?
Yeah, I'm a geek at heart. What can I say? I love it.
So what I'm going to show you now is actually something we came up with as part of an internal VMware hackathon. I'm going to take you inside a virtual data center.
A virtual, wow, that's a lot of
Let's
virtuals.
Come
Okay, so let's try. Okay.
So if you want to put the headset on for me, please.
Okay, we're going to do this. Am I going to look goofy like those other people that do these VR demos?
Pat, you'll look fantastic.
Okay, that's a promise, right?
Yep.
Ooh, this is pretty cool.
Okay, so in front of you, you should see the controller right now.
Okay, got it.
So,
wow,
Pat,
look at all that great hardware. This is good looking stuff. A good, clean data center. I like this design.
So you are actually in a virtual representation of our on-premises data center right now. In fact, these hosts here were built on top of the vSphere 6.5 API and pulled in here and represented in a virtual data center.
All right.
So if I can get you to move over to that third host, please.
Okay. What am I doing wrong here? Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Oh,
thank you.
All right.
And
Here we go.
if you look down, what kind of server is that, Pat?
Well, of course, it's good Dell hardware.
Of course.
Yeah.
And as you can see on the front of the server, where this is currently ESX03.mydomain.local.
Yep.
And on top of there, you can see a virtual representation of the VMs available to you on this host.
Okay.
So why don't you pick up one of these virtual machines? In fact, pick up Project 13 for me, please.
Okay. Okay.
So instantly, we can see more information about these virtual machines. We can see the number of CPUs, the fact that it's a VMware Photon OS. The memory is 1 gig. We have 4 gig of storage, and it's attached to the VM network, and it's powered on. Now, it just so happens that this VM has come to the end of its project, and I've got a change request in front of me, signed by yourself, Pat, to get rid of it.
Okay.
So if you look on the right-hand side, pick it back up.
Okay.
Look over to the right-hand side and look down a little bit. You can see we have a trash can.
Ooh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. Why don't you drop it in there for me? Thank you. You've just deleted a virtual machine.
Oh, that was fun. Let's do that. All right.
Absolutely. So now if you want to move over to your host on your left, please, the second host in there.
Okay, here we go. ESX02, good.
So again, we can see the virtual machines. And if you want to pick up on-prem VM01 for me, please.
Okay, great.
So we can again see this is a Photon virtual machine. It's powered on. And then if you look slightly to the right for me, we can see this is a database server. So what we're going to do is actually migrate this live running virtual machine and all of the applications into VMware Cloud on AWS. So if you can turn around to your left for me, please.
Okay. Ah, the cloud.
The cloud. So as you can see, we have a virtual representation of VMware Cloud on AWS. Now, I'm sure everybody in this audience before has done a vMotion. You've right-clicked on a virtual machine. You've moved that virtual machine to a new host or a new cluster or even a new virtual center. What we're going to do now is migrate that live. But if you were in virtual reality and you wanted to vMotion a VM, how would you do that? Throw it? Great
Okay.
idea. Come on, Pat, let's throw it. Good shot.
All right, where'd it go?
It just live migrated up into VMware Cloud on
Really?
AWS.
Wow, that's impressive. Okay.
So why don't we actually go and see it up there? So why
Okay.
don't you teleport towards the cloud for
Okay.
me?
Like right there?
Pat, you are now in the cloud.
I've made it to the cloud. I've always wanted to be here. This is good.
So now if you can turn back around for me, please. Thank you.
All
you can
right,
see if you
okay.
look up, we are indeed in VMware Cloud on AWS.
Yeah.
We are attached to the master demo software-defined data center, and we can see the amount of CPU, memory, and storage that we're currently using in here. Now, I don't like red. Red always means something bad.
So,
you know.
something's bad
Yeah,
there. We got
exactly.
memory problems. Yeah.
So we'll come to back to that in a little while. But
Yeah.
first of all, can I get you to teleport yourself over to that second host for me?
Okay. This one here?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Okay.
Is there anything you recognize on this host?
Hey, there's on-prem. I just migrated you, baby. You're looking good.
That's right. So can you pick that one up for me again?
Sure.
So you can see that this virtual machine is still powered on. Indeed, we did live migrate this over to VMware Cloud on AWS with no downtime to the operating system or the applications being used by the users. So if you can put that back down on the host for me, please.
Oh, sorry.
That's
There
okay.
we go.
Be
Okay,
tidy.
there we
Come
go.
on.
Yeah.
That's right. Now, if you can turn around towards me, please, and then
Okay.
teleport again towards the back. Let's see
Okay.
if we can do something about that memory.
Ooh, what are you doing here?
So this is Brian. Brian
Hi,
is here to
Brian.
help you.
He looks a little freaky.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
So Brian is actually a representation, an avatar built on top of the great VMware global support services that you can get live within VMware Cloud on AWS.
Oh, if he's our GSS guy, he's not freaky. He's good. Okay.
He's a good guy.
Yeah,
In fact, you can ask him questions and he'll be able to directly respond straight to you. So let's move around a little bit more to your right, please.
Okay.
And now we can see some operations that we can actually do inside of our data center. So what I want you to do is look slightly up to the right for me, please, and then reach forward and enable Elastic DRS.
Okay.
So look to the right. As you can see, the nature of the Elastic infrastructure from Amazon allows us to automatically provision a brand new host and enable us to kick in DRS and live migrate these virtual machines over to the new host, making the most of the resources inside of the data center and making sure that all our applications are running at the best performance possible.
Very cool. So we've just live added the host and migrated in real time using DRS. That's very neat.
Absolutely. And if you look back at that memory for me,
Oh, good. We're fixed.
we're all back to green.
Okay,
We're all
perfect.
good. So at this point, I'm afraid I'm going to have to bring you back to real life.
Oh, man, I hate it. Right.
So I'm going to take the controller from you.
Okay.
Let's put the headset on the floor.
Wow. So I've been to the cloud and back here. But Alan, I got to go to the cloud.
Yeah.
What about everybody else at VMworld?
Yeah, the great thing about this is, we managed to put this together in a day and a half in a hackathon. What we're actually going to do is release this in an open source GitHub repository so that you can try this out and also contribute back to it as well, help us work on this project.
Very good. So everybody can go to the virtual
Absolutely.
cloud.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you. Okay. So I trust you all are going to download and take your trip to the virtual cloud as well. And to summarize the VMware cloud strategy, we said we want to enable this consistent infrastructure, and what you've seen today with IBM and our partnership there, just a powerful execution of that. Consistent operation for clouds with our VMware cloud services, and this broadening network of our VMware global service providers, and finally enabling IT agility while reducing complexity and cost. Now, this has been a fabulous year for us in our cloud journey, and we've made so much progress over the last year. But again, instead of just hearing from me, we love to hear from a customer. And to help me facilitate that, it's my pleasure to have Sanjay Poonen, COO of Customer Operations for VMware, and he's going to host a discussion with our customers. And what we like to do right now is to hear from Liberty Global and Swisscom, customers of VMware. Thank you very much.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we go from the virtual to the physical. And we'll have a little bit of a conversation here. I'll play journalist here with Heinz Herren, CIO and CTO of Swisscom. Welcome. And Colin Miles, VP of Data Center Technology at Liberty Global. We've got the Indian, the Swiss, and the British, so we'll try and find something in common. Maybe in the future they'll have virtual reality in your glasses, Heinz, in the future. But thank you for being here. The Swisscom story is amazing. Switzerland is known for all of its wonderful things, precision, chocolates, watches. But the transformation in the telecom industry has been significant. How is what's happening in that business world affecting how you transform IT?
Well, it's of course affecting us dramatically, not so much only on us, but if you look into the market first, so Switzerland only started really to begin to understand what digitalization means. I think we are only starting to see a big wave of huge transformation ahead of us. If you look into the enterprise market in Switzerland, most of the enterprises, and this is a bit Swiss, we try to first listen what others do and then we might do the move. But most of the enterprises, if they run virtualized environments or platforms, they are still only half automated. They mainly operate manually. They have lots of legacy. That's not really a good fundament to move into the digital world. If you look into the telco industry and into Swisscom, we launched our first cloud offers 5 years ago, but honestly, we did it a bit like Pat said. We did it vertical. Every application got its stack, and we clearly saw we cannot compete and stay ahead of time to market, of agility, if you continue working like this. This was the reason why we've decided a year ago to completely reshape the cloud architecture and the cloud transformation into a much more integrated and horizontal path together with you, VMware, and also Dell EMC.
Bold moves, software-driven, all of that. Colin, similar industry, you guys are a big brand, one of the largest broadband carriers, and you've also been transforming a lot of the way in which this industry affects IT. How has that played out at Liberty Global?
So historically, our organization was really 12 operating companies with 12 separate individual customized product sets. And when we started to see that change in the industry with the OTT players coming in and the transformation of our incumbent telco competitors, we recognized we needed to change. So we really did that with two strategies, moving towards single product sets and also moving towards a single operating model across Europe, creating a single technology and innovation function that was able to deal with all levels of capability. And with that, from a technology perspective, previously, working in that way, we would find a simple workload stack would set up between 9 and 12 weeks. It passed between multiple organizations, multiple teams, multiple handoffs, simply too slow. We recognized we needed to revolutionize the way that we transformed our estate. And to do that, we created a private cloud capability, end-to-end, revolutionizing application through infrastructure with vRealize at the heart.
All right, so the imperative in both your cases was to modernize, move faster, move agile. Heinz, coming back to you, as you think about our partnership and your building of a private cloud with the use of VMware technologies, one of the things I admire about the Swiss is your precision. Swiss watches, I could use a Swiss watch because I'm always late to my meetings, but nonetheless. When you think about the precision with which you built that private cloud, what were the component technologies that you used of VMware, and how did that help you modernize your private cloud effectively?
Well, there is a bit of history, as I said. So we tried to start or to enter the cloud market too vertical. We had the first launch of an enterprise cloud system where we tried to do too much within the stack. We wanted to kind of create Swissness within the stack, and we saw that's not going to work. So we completely gave up on that. And a year ago, when we decided for the strategic partnership with VMware, we fully set all our bets onto Dell EMC infrastructure. So we are a vXRAC customer going soon into SDDC. We use NSX, we use vRealize. We have a complete cloud management setup now, mainly focusing on yourself, which allows us to really focus on quality, time to market, our USPs, which are much more than just offering a stack to the customer. The customer from us, since we are a telco, first of all, we need to offer it as a managed service. We need to offer it multi-tenant, so it's a virtual private environment we are building, which offers still independency for each enterprise customers, but allows us to standardize and to get benefit from a horizontal platform. So that's where we want to focus. That's where the USPs are, including introducing that stack environment into the rest of the telco world, the telco connectivity beyond data center connectivity.
So you had the full compute virtualization, but then VMware Cloud Foundation storage, networking, with full vRealize running on top of Dell EMC infrastructure, and that private cloud became the foundation, software defined, for a lot of the ways in which you could make yourself lower cost and complexity.
Let me call it a virtual private cloud. So it's
awesome.
really
I like
offers
that.
Can I do a test? It was a bit quiet before, so I wanted to say thank you to the team, the combined VMware and Swisscom team who made that happen in just 1 year. Can we see the Swisscom people standing up?
Do you have some Swisscom people here in the audience?
Here. Where are the guys?
Can we give them a hand?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You got them seated up right in front. Okay, Colin, what's your favorite food, by the way? We've got to mix it up here a little bit.
I love Indian food.
You know, we thought we had a little bit in common. Some of the best Indian restaurants are in North London. You've stolen all our good cooks, but nonetheless. When you think about innovation and the way in which you folks have innovated, one of the things that's really special about your story is the way in which you've used not just compute, but management. And I had a little side bet with Ajay Singh, who runs our vRealize portfolio, and I said, if we mention vRealize on stage, he owes me 20 euros. So let's talk about vRealize. How did it change the way in which you were able to set up a software-defined infrastructure and cloud management?
So because of the organization and being built on acquisition, there was a lot of technical debt. And we recognized that to really accelerate forward to where we needed to be, to keep up that competition, we started with that blank piece of paper. We actually built a brand new data center. We implemented vRealize at the core, but really focused on end-to-end orchestration. We wanted to remove the swivel chair activity. We really wanted to remove a lot of that manual interaction, getting rid of those false silos within the organization. So now we have a customized JSON environment that injects into Kubernetes, down through Docker, comes down to vRealize that then orchestrates through our infrastructure layer, through our compute and storage and database, through into our Cisco networking environment and down into F5. And just as I said earlier, something that was taking 9 to 12 weeks for a simple workload setup, we're now doing single touch button, 19-minute provision end to end. And when we think about that larger complex environment, we're still able to create a multi-tenant environment delivering our new TV backend within 5 days from application through.
That's vRealize 4 or 5 times. Ajay, you owe us 100 euros. Okay, nonetheless. Now, when you think about that vRealize environment, you have it both managing your traditional environment and your cloud-native environment, right?
Yes.
All in one, or how does that work out?
With everything inside technology, you have to try and make things simple. If things are really complex, then actually from a leadership perspective, trying to drive adoption of that way of working inside your engineering community is really challenging. And so for me, creating the importance of one through our entire strategy was absolutely critical. And having vRealize manage both a traditional automated virtualized environment and also into the cloud has been just that. One tool, one set of training and one adoption capability.
That's great. Heinz, you're probably excited about some of the announcements we made this morning about OpenStack and NFV. Talk a little bit about our partnership. You know, things don't always go well, but one of the things that's important is that these are not just any vendor relationships, it's a partnership. How has that worked out for you?
I truly believe in very few but very strong partnerships. I think that will be the partnership model of the future. We cannot allow ourselves to still manage 200 partners plus, right? So we entered into a very close relationship with you a year ago. It was not so bad as you think. We had some starting issues, of course, which is normal in a project when you kick it off. But very quickly, we were able to really manage together Dell EMC, VMware, and Swisscom our common goal. We set up a plan a year ago to launch our Swisscom Enterprise Service Cloud last week. We hit the milestone.
Good.
We launched last week. And we really found a way of partnering where we could address points. You were very responsive. You were listening. We also brought in our piece of making it work. So I think it's a good fundament for the future.
Maybe sort of 30 seconds as we wrap up between both of you. Heinz first, and then you, Colin. Where's your vision of where this is all headed as you map out the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, first of all, let's fill up the cloud now. So the service cloud is now out. We have a good traction on the funnel. I think the Swiss customers will love our offer. It's very smooth. It allows them a transition from on-prem to Swisscom data centers. We can include AVS and other public cloud offers too. We still operate 3 main cloud environments: the IT cloud, the Swisscom service cloud, the application cloud for software developers, as well as the telco cloud. And I would really love to see more horizontal use of VMware amongst all the 3 stacks in future. So that's where we're heading.
Congratulations on your launch.
Thank you.
Colin, what's your vision? Obviously, you're pushing Kubernetes, containers, agility, even in a traditional industry. Where's your vision of where this all heads?
So really it's 3 specific strategies. One is starting to treat our cloud development as a true product set, internally and externally, moving forward, delivering more into more countries, and a feature release, a higher cadence of how we get product sets, but small incremental value, so not to boil the ocean. The second thing is around truly hybrid, but not just active standby. We heard already today with your IBM announcement, active, but interesting to see how that moves to a true multi-cloud environment, which is really the utopia for us and how we choose to get there. And finally, because we are a telco provider, actually NFV is the biggest transformation we're going to see coming into our organization. So virtualizing that network, bring it into the data center becomes truly the heart of our organization. So seeing how we move forward with OpenStack and NFV, and I'm interested, with your vCloud announcement today, and how that truly overlays with NFV.
Well, Colin and Heinz, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard the story of agility in 2 great iconic brands. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Heinz. Just great partners, and you hear the story, the partnership that's emerged for both of them, really exciting. So what I want to do now is let's click a little bit deeper into networking. And at the heart of so much of what we are doing is the network. And when I think about VMware past, it was about vSphere. When I think about VMware future, I think of NSX as maybe more important than what vSphere was over the last 2 decades. NSX is this connective tissue that really turns data centers into centers of data. And we've applied it to the data center transformation, transforming data centers into private clouds, stretching it to reach to the mobile and desktop devices. But now we're also reaching, and you'll hear more about this tomorrow, making it a common connectivity into the next generation container and app frameworks as well. We're also making it part of the underlying infrastructure for telcos, and you heard the comments on NFV. We're also stretching it to be part of our IoT, branch, and edge network activities. And finally, reaching and making this connectivity across multiple public clouds as well. Literally, NSX is the secret sauce that's propelling the multi-cloud future for us. And for that, I'd say if you're not already on NSX, you're already late. And let's work with you to accelerate your journey to take advantage of NSX. And again, we're excited about how customers have found the value and the benefits of NSX. And for that today, we're thrilled to have Société Générale and how they're taking advantage of NSX and the other VMware offerings. Let's hear from them right now.
All right, Pierre Hasley is head of architecture and group infrastructure at Société Générale, an incredibly iconic brand. I was actually reading up, you just celebrated the 150-year anniversary of Société Générale.
Right.
Well, now we've got the French and the Indian. Maybe we should have poured out some wine here. What do you think? What's your favorite wine?
I would say Bordeaux, it's nice, but you know, what I like with Saint-Joseph is that you do not need to open it in advance, so it's a bit more agile when you've got friends.
Innovation flows right into the wine. All right, that's great. Let's talk a little bit about this, because one of the things that's really special about this story is how this bank that's been such an iconic brand is moving faster and transforming. So again, let's talk about the digital transformation that's happening in the business world. How is that playing into your IT environment?
Yeah, you know, Société Générale has already engaged a deep transformation to put innovation and digital technology at the heart of its activities. So today we already have 90% of client contact on our French retail network, which are already going through digital channels. And our ambition is really to be the leading relationship-focused bank close to its clients and a leader in its market. So for that, we need to innovate and we need to improve customer experience. And the good news is that as technology is moving very fast, it gives us a lot of great opportunities to improve customer experience and add innovation.
And how have you created that type of innovation culture in your bank? What are some of the things that you're doing?
Oh, there is many things. It starts from some time ago when we started to move to the cloud. We started to talk about DevOps, all that story. But basically, the main driver for us to move in that direction was really to focus on the business. A key driver for us, fast time to market, and also innovation. And to do that, you need agility. You need to deliver quicker and more often new feature to our customers. So we had to move from our traditional information system to a new one, more agile, more efficient, and also more open to external ecosystem. Today we are talking open banking. And at the top of the bank, we decided a strategy for that to make the cloud a real game changer. And basically, there is three main pillars for us. The first one is to have an hybrid platform integrating multiple cloud providers and to have all our services fully automated and available through APIs. Then we need our application to adopt new cloud-native patterns. And for example, to move towards stateless workload, which is really important to leverage containers. And last but not least, for agility, it's to adopt an agile operating model with DevOps and framework like SAFe.
You'd imagine that you're hearing all these things from a modern startup, but here is a 150-year-old bank that's thinking innovation. Now let's talk a little bit about our relationship, because VMware's done a lot with Société Générale, but I think when we first met about a year ago, I think we were in danger of being viewed as legacy, perhaps, because of maybe just viewing us in the on-premise world. But then something changed in terms of the way you began to see us, around NSX and public cloud. Talk a little bit more about how that changed.
Yeah, I think we had a story in two phases. The first one is it was really the lift and shift part. So we started our journey 5 years ago with a VMware proof of concept. At that time, there was a need to reduce the time to deliver servers to our developers. And we took this as an opportunity to move from traditional virtualization to VMware-based private cloud. And it enables in 2014 for our developers to quickly have servers through APIs, portal, on a pay-per-use model. And this was our first step. And now we are running something that more than 12,000 virtual machines.
12,000 VMs.
Yeah. In average, because it's on demand. So, we are watching, it's moving. But the second phase, in 2016, we wanted to get more value from the cloud. And we decided to go PaaS on both private and public. And at that time, when we were talking with VMware, you were not embracing the public cloud, all the open source story, all the containers, so you had missing parts. So I've seen in the announcement that there is a lot of good stuff coming, so now we are more in sync.
That's awesome. And NSX is a key part of it, right? Talk about why a software-defined networking stack is really critical to your strategy of the future.
I mean, that's the most tricky part. If you need to go to talk to public cloud, you need it. And also the thing is, in our strategy, we apply to our private cloud the same principle we find on public cloud. If you look at the AWS, you could see security groups. So internally on our private cloud, we are mimicking those behaviors. So for that, we need NSX. And to be frank, this is the biggest challenge to have a
And when you think about public cloud, I mean, you're going to have multiple clouds, but you've got an ambitious goal of going into the future of a significant part of your workloads being in private or public clouds. Right? Talk about how you view this going into the future.
So our vision in the future is really to to reach 80% of our workload in the cloud in 2020. So both private and public.
And it's sort of the opposite today. Most of it's on-premise, very little cloud.
Yeah, so we don't know the ratio between public and private, but they know that the story is this one. So we need to get ready to integrate all those cloud providers. So for that, the magic would be to have one nice SDN network managing network and security for us, because that's the foundation.
Great, that's awesome. So you see a world where as you move your workloads, wherever it is in the public cloud, this software-defined security, what are some of the use cases of NSX? Microsegmentation, anything else that you've been using as the first uses of NSX?
I think the big one is microsegmentation, because we've been struggling for a long time about how to manage security. And the good thing is with NSX is that we've been able to provide APIs so that developers and application guys are now able to manage this part. And so it's a really an agile and a nice way to improve and simplify network security.
That's amazing. So ladies and gentlemen, what you heard here is the amazing story of an iconic brand that's transforming itself from a lot of what sits in the on-premise world to a modern cloud architecture with key technologies like NSX. Pierre, thank you for being with us at VMworld. Ladies and gentlemen, Pierre Hasley.
Thank you, Pierre. Thank you. And what a great brand and a great story that we've had with them. So what I want to do now is maybe dive into the most important topic of them all, security. You know, when we think about security, you sort of say, boy, you know, how do I protect my apps and data? Really, the assignment is actually fairly easy. Make sure they're okay. And when you think about our world today, the target is getting larger and larger, and you know, with users, devices, networks, and services, and things that you, the CIO, don't control anymore. How do you protect and manage that in an increasingly challenged world? And this is the fundamental challenge of cybersecurity. Now, this is the answer to that you have today. Look at that picture. Wow, look at all those products and companies and technologies, and it's your job to make sense out of all of that. Wow, nearly impossible. Security spend over $100 billion and the fastest growing line item in the IT budget, and yet the cost and number of breaches is increasing more rapidly than the spend. Something's broken. Something's terribly wrong. You're spending more and you're falling further behind. And I'll simply say, we, the tech industry, we have failed you, our customers, and we need a new approach. And against that, you know, VMware has taken an approach that we need to think differently about security. You know, and first, we need to move from infrastructure to secure infrastructure, where we melt many of those core functionality directly into the infrastructure layer, literally built in, architected in, components that are standardized in your environment. Second, we need to work closely with the ecosystem that we need to integrate the controls, the context, the management, the validation of those pieces working together. And then finally, enabling a level of consistent cyber hygiene. I sort of think about this like a sports team. How do you have a championship team? You practice the basics. And almost every security breach has occurred because of lack of cyber hygiene. And if you think about cyber hygiene, you know, it's really not that hard, right? But you need to do these simple things consistently and well. You know, things like least privilege. Unless you explicitly have access to that app or data, you don't, right? Being able to microsegment, as you've heard us talk about today, like getting into past the lobby in a bank, you've got nothing. You've got many layers of security until you get to the good stuff. Encryption. If you get my data, you've got nothing but a bag of bits unless you have the keys to go with it. Multi-factor authentication. Phish my password, you got access to nothing unless you have that second or third factor to go with it. And consistent patching and upgrades. You know, and these are the things that we need to make it easy for you to do those things well. And if you did, you would not have been Target, OPM, Sony. It was the easy stuff that led to those breaches. We also want to address the topic that is maybe even more important on our minds here in Europe, GDPR. GDPR goes into effect 250 days from now. Are you ready? Right? And GDPR will impact thousands of customers and businesses globally. And the VMware approach to GDPR is really help you secure the data, you know, automate the governance of it, and secure operations. And these three actions need to be taken to create an environment that you can satisfy your GDPR requirements, as are we. You know, personal data is just one of the types of data associated with it. It's financial, intellectual property, and other business data. And our broad portfolio of product-specific proof points and white papers to help you know how to apply these products. We want to help you be ready to satisfy the GDPR requirements that are coming soon. And when we think about this idea of secure infrastructure, security built in, and we've started on this journey over the last several years. Workspace One with single sign-on, devices with AirWatch and MDM capabilities, networks with micro-segmentation, and we just released network encryption as well. Storage, we've added encryption into vSAN. But what about compute, our heritage? We've never used that as a point to deliver security until now. And when we think about the security problem, think about the applications we're trying to protect. We'll have a typical operating system which have a variety of processes running on it, and all of these processes provide attack surface. Capture an IP, hijack a process, spawn a new service, override system functions, every one of those. And we simply call this a picture of chasing bad, where we have to search through everything that's going on to find that little piece of bad. Now, maybe there's a different way to do this, and we'll simply call that ensuring good. And the idea of chasing bad is sort of like a needle in a haystack. And literally, a typical virus scan process right now is 30+ million rules applied against every process, every service, every packet. How can that possibly ever succeed? Ensuring good is getting rid of the haystack. Can we flip the security model on its head? Can we enable a consistent environment that minimizes that attack surface? And that's exactly what App Defense does. First, we capture the intended state, the intended good. We combine the provisioning information, what vRealize or Puppet or Ansible would say, this is the intended state. We add to that machine learning, that the machine learns itself its own behavior. APIs for industry and a network service that captures outbreaks. All of these combine to say this is the manifest of good behavior. Now, since it's being applied then at the virtual machine level, essentially we can detect deviations from good immediately in real time. It's never okay to write the master boot record. We tested App Defense with Petya and WannaCry, and it was like big red lights going off and sirens, immediately detecting those capabilities. And it isn't just that we can detect them, we can immediately automate response to them. We can automatically trigger responses based on your policies and the severity of the event that occurred. A policy might be stop the VM, turn on full packet encryption, honeypot it, send off an alert. Whatever it might be, we can capture, detect, and respond in real time. And we're excited to be working with the ecosystem, and we just began shipping this capability this last month, and we already have many from the ecosystem. You heard about IBM and the partnership we announced earlier with them, and they see this as a game changer, and we're working with others in the industry who see the excitement of ensuring good and how we can leverage the VM as a mechanism to do it. App Defense, a powerful new technology to attack the security challenges that we have. Tomorrow we have an App Defense Spotlight section, and you can come and witness an attack in real time and how App Defense prevents it. So, changing security, these three things: delivering secure infrastructure, binding that with an integrated ecosystem that we validated and worked deeply with, and finally, enabling consistent cyber hygiene. And if we do those things, we truly can change the game in security. So we've taken a journey this morning. We've looked through every element of the VMware vision, and we together have had a powerful journey these last few years from any device and this explosion of new devices that we're now operating on for any application, both the cool new stuff as well as the legacy environment that we've built over many years, and how we can now operate that on any cloud, including telco environments and stretching to the edge, and finally, intrinsic security. We at VMware are just thrilled with the innovations that we have underway. And the excitement, the passion, the pace of innovation. Today is the slowest day of technical innovation of the rest of your life. We're just going faster from the breathtaking speed that we're at today. And we're excited because we get to innovate so that you can realize your business potential. You can realize what's possible in a way that never before was in front of you. Together, we can realize the future. We're excited today to share one last example of how all this technology comes together and innovation is brought together for a higher purpose. Let's hear about how IntelliPro and Node Africa are serving and transforming the lives and livelihood of 20 million farmers in rural Africa. Let's hear from them right now. Thank you very much.
My name is Maurice Diani. I was born and raised here on this farm. When I came of age, my father gave me a parcel of land. I didn't know what crops to plant, so I just followed what other farmers were doing. I never did any accounting. It affected even my cattle. They would lack food and die. My farm is my only source of income, and I depend on it to put my children through school and to feed my family. I was on the verge of losing everything. The East African Farmers Federation and eGranary rescued me. The EAFF is a farmers collective that educates small farmers like me, assists us with finances, and helps us to aggregate our crops to ensure better prices. eGranary helps farmers input their crop information by using their mobile phone. Now, I can properly analyze the productivity of my farm, get loans on the spot, and buy crop insurance. Today, even farmers like me are able to educate their children. I get money to support my family, and this is all because of the East African Farmers Federation and the eGranary platform. My grandfather was a farmer and farmed this land. My father farmed this land too. Now I farm this land. I am a farmer, and my children will be able to farm this land too.
Wow, that is quite a story. Well, welcome Leonida Mutuku and Ferris Kariuki, CEO of IntelliPro and Node Africa. Quite a story. You guys traveled 10 hours from Nairobi to be here with us. Leonida, you are an incredible entrepreneur. You built this company and it's making such an impact as we saw in that video. Maybe you can take us into the kind of life of that farmer. How is your application and the software service you've built changing the life of that farmer in Kenya?
So previously, farmers were unable to really plan their productivity, especially the kinds of inputs they should plant at what point in time, primarily because they were unable to really get access to the right kind of financing to be able to keep up with the production cycle. So through our platform, eGranary, we are supporting these farmers to track their productivity, to track the inputs that they put into their farms, to track the labor, to track fertilizers. And based on all this data, we are able to really score them for financial services such as credit, such as insurance, and make these services available to them.
So in the absence of that, the farmer would have to go to some traditional lender or to somebody else. The interest rates might be exorbitant.
Yeah.
But your analytics machine learning platform behind the scenes takes the input and comes back to them with a score on their phone, or how do they actually get their credit score?
So before that, farmers could only plant whatever they could afford at that moment. So they could only plant the seeds they could get at that moment or borrow from informal lenders. However, using eGranary, these farmers are able to now just go on their on the platform, request for a loan, and that loan is converted in terms of seeds that they can, really access at the distributor on credit, and then can pay back once the harvest is done.
So all of this, we're talking about the use of this app. You've never mentioned VMware. I mean, do you even care what VMware is? What's underneath all this stuff?
I mean, for us, so long as the application runs on the cloud and there's no downtime,
it's like cloud and virtualization.
That's really what we care for.
You are aware you're at a VMware conference.
That I'm definitely sure.
Okay,
the
good.
branding is
well,
right there.
that's where you come in, Ferris. So you are a VMware cloud provider, service provider that runs on our stack. Well, actually, you've done it for a while, and you provide the platform on which ISVs like her could build the application. Tell us about our partnership and how you, as a service provider, built your stack.
Yeah, so like you rightly pointed out, Sanjay, we are a vCAN partner, and so we provide cloud services on top of the VMware stack. So we are running NSX, standard vSphere, and now vSun, and vCloud so as a self-service.
And we've had a partnership for several years, right, in doing this?
Yeah, so as Node Africa, we've been at this for 2 years, but I've worked with VMware for the last 10, 11 years.
That's awesome. Yeah. Now, when we were talking last night, there was a particular part of your story that was pretty interesting. You built your stack on vSphere. Yeah. And then I was asking you about how you built your networking stack, and there's no physical networking. Talk us about how you've done this.
Yeah, so what happened was that in a fit of, I don't know if it was stupidity or bravery, we decided to launch a company in around 6 weeks. And we had no money. So getting investment for this was becoming a bit tricky. So what we decided to do is, look, we'll launch, and then we'll figure it out as we're going along. So we got servers, we got some basic switches, and then we realized we didn't have any routers. And we didn't actually have money to sink into routers. So we were getting quotations of $20,000, God knows how much money, and at the time we were broke. So basically, the documentation said you could do your edge routing off NSX. So we decided, okay, let's see if it works. And we created a BGP session off NSX, and we were live, and we still don't have any routers to date.
Everything is virtual networking in your area?
Yeah, everything is virtual, and it actually works very well, because now all our clients can take advantage of that.
No issues, no fault tolerance issues?
We're yet to go down.
No outages. Lena, how do you feel about that?
No, since we started working with Node Africa, we've had 100% uptime. And so
That's amazing.
Our farmers are connected throughout.
That's an amazing NSX story. I thought that was very, very special. Yeah. So you guys are doing some incredible stuff with our technology that we would probably not even imagined ourselves. Lena, let's talk a little bit about the future. You're advancing beyond Kenya to several other countries. What's your vision of where you want to take this platform?
So currently the platform serves around 25,000 farmers in Kenya, but we do want to really impact the 20 million farmers under the East Africa Farmers Federation umbrella around the East African subcontinent. So here we're looking at Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda in the next few months, and we do want to extend these financial services to these farmers.
And you're doing this all while you're running a company. I heard you've got a master's degree you're doing on the side. Maybe you're going to run for president next of Kenya?
Who knows?
That's great. Well, we're very, very honored to have you both here. Thank you for making the long trip, and your story truly inspires us because you are serving such a higher cause that's influencing humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Leonida and Ferris. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. All right. Well, what's very special about these stories is that a significant part of what we do at the company is help many of you grow your revenue, lower your cost. When we can actually help humanity save lives. We talked about that with Red Cross when we were at VMworld US a few weeks ago. When we can actually help people run their lives better and make an impact on humanity, that's just a whole better cause. And nothing was to us more special than watching humanity come together in this showcase, as JP pointed out in Barcelona. You see these beautiful flowers. There's 50,000 people that collected in Barcelona to talk about peace being the answer to all challenges, and we believe the same way. We are here to help communities take themselves to the place where peace can bring together much, much happiness in society. Let me talk as we wrap up today, a little bit of what you're going to be hearing through much of the breakout sessions and motivate for you why we've picked these 3 or 4 key tracks, because it tells you a little bit about where VMware is focused and where we're going. When we looked at a lot of how you and your IT folks, top CIOs, were spending money, we saw a number of different categories. You'll see 50 different categories, and this represents how people were spending money from April to June across infrastructure and across applications. And 7 or 8 started to stand out in infrastructure in our area. And you'll see here categories like cloud and security are increasing in spending. Also certain areas like mobilization. So we began to see a pattern, and we began to focus our company on the priorities that we think the modern IT organization and infrastructure is and should be focused on. And that's cloud, mobile, and security. Now, as you heard today, cloud doesn't mean just public cloud. It means modernizing your private cloud to be ready for the public cloud. Mobile doesn't mean just the mobile device. It means being on the move, because 50% of work today is done outside the workplace. So with that in mind, we began to ask ourselves, how do you tell the entire VMware story just in the context of those 3? And it's actually very, very simple. As I like to say, Sesame Street simple. Number 1, the story of the back end of VMware is the data center moving to the cloud. Tens of millions of workloads today we run in the infrastructure of the data center. We're preparing you to help you move to the cloud. On the top end of the circle, increasingly, the desktop is moving mobile. We expect to manage tens of millions of devices there. And all of this is tied together in a security framework that ties everything from the data center to the desktop. When I talk to our sales teams, I tell them this simple one chart can give you the entire story of VMware. And if you've got to show this with 100 PowerPoints, there's probably no power and probably no point to it, okay? And that's what we want to do, is make it very, very Sesame Street simple for you. So as you go through the breakouts, what you will see is we've organized our content along those 3 core themes: cloud, mobile, and security. Underneath cloud, you see a modernized data center, and that's all about taking your data centers and through software, reducing cost and complexity. That's what we've done for almost 20 years, and we'll continue to do that. But also prepare you for the public cloud: AWS, Azure, Google, IBM Cloud. All 4 of those clouds now are working with VMware. Empower the digital workspace, all about what you hear in mobility. And of course, transforming network and security with some pioneering technology as you hear today. That is the story of VMware as we perceive the future. It's extremely exciting to us when we have hundreds. These are all the logos of the partners that are here presenting in the showcase between here and the previous show that we have. We have 200 customers that are in breakout sessions. To me, one of the greatest joys of this VMworld is being to hear these major customers talk about their stories. There are 200 such customers in all the breakout sessions. And this sort of show, we take this VMworld from Las Vegas to Barcelona. It's sort of like a Rolling Stones concert. 100,000 people will hear this over the course of the next several months. And our goal is to have every one of you as customers, if you've got a story, we want you to be participating in this way in which we can tell this. And that's how we believe every one of you can fit to this theme, which is realizing what's possible. So we look forward to hearing that. Now, a special programming note as you think about tomorrow morning, we're going to have a special session hosted by Pat, myself, and Ray O'Farrell, our CTO, where we will take your questions. Okay, and here's the simple way. On your mobile phone, you can download the mobile app, and you can submit your questions all the way till 6 p.m. this evening. We want to hear from as many of you, and the 3 of us will be answering your questions tomorrow. It's a very, very exciting keynote we've got there tomorrow. I know you're going to have a great time out tonight having fun, but make sure you're here tomorrow. And I look forward to having a great time with you and meeting many of you over the next couple of days. Let's have a great VMworld. Thank you very much.